Hi, I'm Mel's best friend, and as you can see, I definitely have better mic quality than I normally have in these videos. This time it's permanent, actually, because this time I actually got my own mic that is a higher quality. Before I was using literally a cheap Bluetooth headset from an arcade prize. Now I'm using, what's it called? Now the headset I'm using is literally a pair of AirPods, which those are known to have much better mic quality and something like that. So yeah, let's go in and change the button mapping to one that I prefer for Sunshine. And now I'm gonna be explaining a lot about mechanics of stuff in Sunshine and why glitches happen and stuff. But before we get into that, I'm actually gonna explain something not about Sunshine, but about this screen. Okay, wait, hold on. Did my video encoder just freeze? Strange. What's going on with my video encoder? Hang on. Getting some weirdness here. I'm gonna remove that source and let's add a new one. Sorry, my video encoder is acting weird. We'll do, okay, there, sorry, I just had to change the codec. Yeah, video encoder weirdness, I know. So, first off, first thing we're going to do is, hang on, let me just see if you guys can see what I'm doing now. Yeah, you could see that movement of my analog stick, that's good. Okay, so yeah, first before I get into explaining any Sunshine related mechanics, gonna explain some mechanics related to actually this screen here on the Switch. So you see how it's like Joy-Con L and Joy-Con R, but when you connect a Pro Controller, it says Pro Controller. Interesting reason as to why it does that. Now, these are not hard-coded. These are actually not hard-coded things for it to say. What they actually are is they are basically like Bluetooth device names that's reading from the connected controller. Because contrary to popular belief, the Switch has always had support for Bluetooth. Prior to that update that has support for Bluetooth headphones, it only used it for connecting controllers, which would explain why using Bluetooth headphones limits the number of controllers you can connect. Because that's also using Bluetooth. And unfortunately, the Switch isn't up to date with stuff, so it doesn't use Bluetooth LE, which would be something that could totally get around that. So yeah, basically Joy-Con L and Joy-Con R are the Bluetooth names for left Joy-Con and a right Joy-Con. Likewise, for a Pro Controller, it's Pro Controller. You can see this by pairing a Joy-Con or Pro Controller to your computer. Your computer will show that Bluetooth name for it. So we're gonna, no, not, I have a preset for it. It's funny, I named the preset Sunburn as a reference to that one mod. So you see, here's the reason I use this button mapping. Kind of interesting. So I map B to Y. So that way it's like B in the game does what B in the 3D All-Stars game does what B does in the original game. Map Y to clicking the right stick, again, to do that type of a thing. But then mapping clicking the right stick to B, so that way it'll let me save the preset. Because it doesn't let you save a preset that doesn't have mappings that lead to A or B. And since that adds in one that points to B, then it allows me to do it. Actually, I just realized something. Can you guys even hear me? And oh yeah, I can confirm you guys can hear me. Hang on though. Let's just add I just realized that I'm missing an audio source, I think. So we do audio input capture, and then we do, then we add my capture card as a source. Okay, sorry. I just now realized I'm not capturing my capture card's audio. I know I've had 2 different video recorder issues today. In case you're wondering which one I use, it makes sense when you hear this. It's one that's a little more on the complicated side, but it's good for if you want something free and open source. Basically the blender of video recording software, and that is OBS. The blender of video recording software. Which, yeah, I do also know how to use Blender, a 3D modeling program. Which, fun fact about Blender, actually, the reason the render engine added by version 2.8 is called Eevee. Here's the reason why it's called that. So, it's an acronym that was obtained by working backwards. So they actually did have in mind to name it after the Pokemon Eevee, but then they worked backwards to get the acronym Extra Easy Virtual Environment Engine. First thing I think we should explain why it happened is rocket storage. Give me the first glitch we'll see in my head. Now, I know other people have explained why this glitch happened several times, but yeah. I'm actually not going to be explaining Invisible Delfino Plaza in this video. Reason being, I already explained that in a video many years ago. Like, almost 5 years ago now, I made a video explaining that one. So, yeah. We're gonna do, so you see, rocket storage. You may know this glitch. It's where you do that. Okay, so here's why that glitch happens. Now, those of you who are into C and C++ could probably get a good understanding of it. So, Super Mario Sunshine is believed to be written in C++. Now, obviously, we don't have really good ways of confirming this, but, we know it's either C or C++ with the time period it was made and the types of features that are in and what bugs occur. We know it was either C or C++. Because, thing is, those are programming languages that don't have a built-in garbage collector. Well, I guess C++ does if it's a newer standard and uses shared pointers. But I'm talking about raw pointers here. This is before that standard that introduced shared pointers. And you can actually still use raw pointers. In fact, in some cases, it's recommended to because they don't take up as much memory. So yeah, the thing is, no built-in garbage collector. It's not like Java where you got a built-in Java. It's not like Java, Java's got a built-in garbage collector. And so what this means, what a garbage collector does is it's responsible for clearing values that aren't needed anymore. And so basically what they did was they forgot to implement their own manual garbage collecting thing on that using either the free function in C or the delete keyword in C++. And so in turn, what that means then is basically you do this and it basically just initializes a vector for Mario's velocity, telling him to go up when he charges up the rocket nozzle. And then the reason he doesn't just get launched when getting out of the sidestep position is because the sidestep position has a safety feature on it, most likely to prevent bugs that they found early on in testing the game, where you are unable to move while getting out of the sidestep animation. And because you're unable to move, that means you can't move up either. Which also explains why you're only able to get out of sidestepping or even sidestep in the first place if you're on ground. And then, so basically, since it never deallocates the old rocket fast, you still have it stored in memory. Meaning next time you do something where you're no longer on the platform, but it also doesn't deallocate those vectors, it launches them. And so, pretty much, you know, you store them like that, and, you know, then what's like is, you know, it's like you basically just store a whole bunch of them, and then now the easiest way, like I said, to like leave the ground without freeing those vectors. The easiest way to leave the ground without freeing those vectors is to sidestep off. Because remember, sidestepping is unable to free those vectors. Like jumping or walking will free those vectors. And now, here's the interesting thing as well. So, you might notice that... Okay, sorry, my friend just came online. As you can see, he was playing Don't Starve Together. Interesting thing I want to show. Now, the reason I'm climbing up here for this is because it's more noticeable up here. So... like I said, it's basically just storing velocity vectors and adding them all up and doing that type of thing. So what that means then is not only can you store the velocity from a rocket, you can also store the velocity from a ground pound. Like, notice how fast I felt compared to just walking normally, or even just sidestepping without ground pounding. See? And so what that means then is, if you want to do rocket storage, don't... oh yeah. If you want to do rocket storage, don't do it like this. Notice that you barely get any height when doing it that way. Then you do it the correct way. And that happened. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty much just vector addition with values that should have been cleared. And now another thing worth explaining. The weird things you can just sidestep through. For example, the Grand Pianta Statue's cape and the area by like flipping tiles in the casino. Let's explain that. Like those ones work differently from the ones in the blue screen of death, and those ones work differently from the ones in the blue screen of death, and the one in the incorrect park area of Peanut Park. You know, so we just get in here. So notice, don't do the normal animation you do for like pushing against the wall. Notice you're just kind of like just doing that. Which you will actually do if you push against the wall the correct way. But what if I told you this isn't even a wall here? With the way how the game handled it. It doesn't even handle it as a wall. That's why it's so weird. Rather, the game handles it as a ceiling. And you can actually clip through ceilings by sidestepping. I know that's actually not what the blue screen of death and incorrect park ones are. Those are a different thing, which I'll explain later. But like, the casino one, that one is a ceiling, which makes sense. It'll make sense when I explain the way how the game determines whether something's a wall, floor, or ceiling. It's almost identical to what Super Mario 64 does, actually, where it's like, basically it's determined by the normal vector of the collision. And there's a very small number of possibilities for a normal vector where it will be a wall. A very small number of possibilities. Like the angle obtained by like doing like trigonometry on the angle obtained by doing trigonometry on pieces of the vector. Like, you'll know if it's a wall if this kind of thing happens, instead of just like sticking or like other weird things like that. But then what about the sticky stuff in the blue screen of death or in the incorrect parts? You instead of showing me the incorrect parts one, I think I'll show you the blue screen of death once I can get to that faster. As one of them will require the EYG setup, the other I can do with literally just this. So you see I'm like sticking right there? That's actually not a wall either. Here's what that is. Just like the ceiling, that's not even a wall. And you'll notice you can sidestep through it. Except for this, it does something really bad if you sidestep through it. Oops, I hit the wrong button. I meant to hit... Sorry, I meant to hit Y. I mean, no, I meant to hit X, not Y. So messed with what I was doing, so ignore that. It's like death by forgetting the button. Get it? Cause like, except usually death by forgetting the buttons in this game. There's like the whole thing with like the A versus B and like the hanging or climbing things. There's sections of the game where either hanging or climbing. That's what it's usually like. See what happened there? Now let's explain what actually happened there. The reason why I just zoomed really far down and then died, that was actually zooming all the way down to the very bottom of where the game is programmed to be able to handle object data. That's actually the very bottom of where the game is able to handle object data. Maybe wondering why does it take you that far down? Well, here's the interesting reason why. The interesting reason why is because here's the interesting reason it takes you that far down. So like I said, that's actually not a wall there, and what it actually is will make sense as to why it doesn't. That's the edge of floor collision. Basically, what initializes a playable space, now Super Mario 64 works this way as well. What initializes a playable space in a level in Super Mario Sunshine is floor collision. Now you may be wondering, how do pits with death barriers in them work then? Well, the way how those work, it'd be obvious to anyone who's ever been straight up dunked in Pianta Village. The death barrier is actually just a special type of floor collision that is set to kill you once you've passed through a point that's like some amount of units above it. And now what I mean by getting straight up dunked below the death barrier, it's like this glitch you can do. So like, well, they could make it so that, they couldn't have made it so that that glitch doesn't happen by, because you have to actually touch the floor to die. The reason they didn't do that though is because not doing it made the animations look smoother. Otherwise you'd see Mario hit a floor before the death transition happened. But you still see him falling, and the reason is because, you know, it's a certain point above that floor that the death kicks in, and not when you hit the floor. Although, so it's like either robust code or a final product that looks good, basically. So yeah, basically it's like when you swim off the edge here, that's fantastic. Yeah, sometimes that'll happen, most likely due to the way how the game is not programmed that well at handling Mario moving that fast, so yeah. But sometimes you'll survive. Sometimes you'll survive and be able to roam around underneath. But yeah, thing is, yeah, that's how death barriers work. And so yeah, pretty much that's like the edge of the floor collision where that quote-unquote wall is in the blue screen of death. Which we confirmed already is not even a wall. It's the same thing with like the incorrect park area of Peanut Park. It's just the edge of the floor collision, meaning the edge of what the game considers a playable area. Now, the whole reason why there's floor collision below the map in Super Mario Sunshine for like the blue screen of death, it's actually quite interesting. I saw a video, a modding tutorial from Epic Wave that kind of explained this. It's because the game's collision system is actually really not meant to handle this high of polygon count that's in this game compared to what was in 64. Now, let's remember, the collision system in this game is a lot like 64's collision system. There are only a few differences, which I've mentioned before. Like, one of them being, there not being as many differences between map geometry collision and object collision. Another being that ceilings don't reach until they hit a floor, like they do in 64. But other than that, it's pretty much the same collision system. You see, since Sunshine is a higher polygon count, Epic Wade explained this. It makes it so there's a lot of times where, like, slopes or, like, other types of small details in the map geometry will just create gaps in the collision mapping. And so to fix that, there has to be a floor underneath them. That floor is the blue screen of death. The reason the game kills you is because of a collision flag set as a punishment mechanic in there. And when you get to one of those quote-unquote walls in the blue screen of death, that's really just the area where it's like, beyond this point, the collision is basic enough to not need a floor underneath, so the floor underneath ends. And it still doesn't answer the question of, why is it blue? Now, the developers knew that the camera system in this game was kind of rushed, so I basically just put the blue in there to make it look kind of nice when clipping your camera into something, rather than just actually taking the time to fix the camera system to make it so that it's hard, if not impossible, to clip the camera into stuff like that. Yeah, basically just texture a whole bunch of blue in there. They just have like boxes of blue just thrown in there. There are probably just like some kind of like box object in they're probably just like some kind of like box object in the game's engine that textures blue onto or something. Probably what they are. And like just throws them into the prefab of the geometry of the map at runtime. Now, I'm just assuming that they're just thrown into the prefab. I don't know if that's actually what is done, as I don't know that much about reverse engineering this game. I know a little bit, but not much. Like, I know about the whole like way how level data is stored in this game, to the point where I can add custom, where I can change objects that are in levels, like level editing, but not like creating like entirely custom levels. I haven't gone that far yet. Like, I know how to, like, you know, like, for example, put an extra coin in a level or something like that. Something like that I could do. And so yeah, basically the whole thing is that's like the edge of the level, basically, with like the blue screen of death. And yeah, so That's why when you sidestep through it, you get teleported down to the bottom of where the game is able to handle object data and die. Remember what I said about what causes rocket storage? Well, there are other glitches that are caused by a really similar thing to rocket storage. With like not freeing unused data like you should. One example being fruit storage, which is that glitch with Yoshi where you can like eat a fruit from anywhere. Another that's not really as well known that I think I could actually like showcase in practice as to how it can be somewhat useful, I guess. I mean, there is a faster way of speedrunning this level than doing this glitch, which I've actually shown that faster way in my videos before. It's basically a way to speedrun episode 3 of Serena Beach without the banana flippity doodah. Now the banana flippity doodah is faster, although, like, you know. Oh, you know, if you don't want to wish luck to Psycho, and you still want to speedrun the level, you do it. Get it? Because of that one time when the YouTuber Psycho said the thing about holding bananas for good luck. Now, he was saying that because... Now, I know the reason he was saying that was because bananas are what you need to hatch the Yoshi egg initially. Meaning, I don't think you can actually beat the game without carrying bananas, because episode 6 of Peanut Park is what throws you off. So you see, it's also a storage glitch like fruit storage and rocket storage. Why storage? Basically, you time a hover and a Y press just right, and then, yeah. And then certain actions will release that Y press, making you go into first person. Basically, it's caused by how hovering cancels the first person and all that stuff. Kind of like how the sidestep animation cancels the rocket jump, and how the jump, the jump off of Yoshi, and how the jump off of Yoshi is what cancels eating a fruit. So like, you want to make sure like you see it zoom in for a little bit, but you don't hear the Y press sound. That's how you know you got your timing right. See, like that time I messed up because the Y press sound still plays. Again, I messed up. Okay, that time I got my timing right. Then you ground pound by the door, and then you can literally just climb through. I like to call this trespassing. I understand why you'd say that, because, yeah, I literally just used a glitch to trespass. Well, I'd be kind of alarmed if someone used a glitch to trespass into a hotel room I was staying in, even though that's not possible in real life. And I just broke your table, and it turns out the table was covering a hole in the floor that leads to another room. Up to it's another glitch I can explain why it happens in kind of an interesting way. Oh, I know one. See, what's a good level to do this glitch in? I guess Bianco Hills could work. Actually, depends on what type of depth it treats that water as. I don't know if it treats that as the frictionless slide depth or the wave depth. Because I know wave depth water you can't slide in, and frictionless slide depth water is like the opposite. It's all about sliding in it. Could do Rico Harbor. Or I guess Gelato Beach. You know what? Yeah, we'll go Gelato. We'll go Gelato. And by the way, before I do this glitch, I'm gonna say something that, spoiler alert, is kind of related to the glitch I'm gonna be explaining. That's kind of an interesting secret in GameCube games. I don't even know why GameCube games are like this. Maybe it's in case the reset button on your GameCube is broken, or maybe it's so gamers can be lazy. Or maybe it was just left in for debugging purposes, maybe because of some early GameCube dev units not having a reset button on them. I don't know. But... Oh, my AirPods are about to die. I just heard them make the low battery sound. So I'll try to get this done soon. So, yeah. Thing is, if you hold down Start, B, and X on the GameCube controller... In every GameCube game I've tested in, actually, it does the same thing as pressing the reset button. Like this game and Thousand Year Door and other games, yeah. Okay, I want that stupid Cataclack to get out of the way. That Cataclack messed me up. You know, I really hate this stuff with like monetization, the monetization system on YouTube. It probably makes it so my channel will never get monetized, actually, because, you know, so I would reset my game like that. Thing is, the way I would reset my game like that... Now here's why that happens. It's actually quite interesting. This is also kind of the reason why that cutscene skip in Peanut Park happens. So the way how the exit area feature in the game is internally programmed tells the game to exit from... Basically tells the game to exit from whatever scene of the game you're currently in. And it's like... return to Delfino Plaza if it detects that... return to Delfino Plaza if you're in a valid scene to exit from. Otherwise, return to, like, some kind of, like, basically, like, parent type thing or whatever. Don't really know the best word to describe it. And so basically, what that means then is, so, it's basically, like, during a scene transition like that, during a scene transition where it's, like, a playable scene to another playable scene, it's unable to tell, like, what scene you're actually in at the time, so it just resets your game. And the reason that happens is because it, like, does the fallback thing of the parent scene type thing, because basically you're exiting from the cutscene at that point. You're not exiting from the level, you're exiting from the cutscene. And let's see, what time is it? Okay. You know, let's see, so... Sorry, this live stream is only a little more than... was only a little more than 30 minutes long, but I thought it makes sense to like, stream this game, celebrate its anniversary. It's just, my AirPods are about to die. The only downside about using AirPods with a mic like that, I guess, is that their battery life isn't that good, really. So, I guess, this is Mel's best friend signing off. No one's a better best friend than good old Mel's best friend. And Shine Gat.